Good evening, folks, and welcome back to Allergic to Stupidity. I hope everybody's got a nice cuppa and are enjoying the summer now that it's finally here. My name is Bev, and this is my channel where I get to grumble and grouch about stupidity that I see happening. Some days I have more on to talk about than other days. Or maybe I've just been busy outside, which is what's happened this week. So I hope everybody has been enjoying themselves. Please remember, if you're enjoying what you hear or see, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and please share, especially if you see something that you think somebody else might enjoy hearing about. Today's chit chat is about the doomsday mentality that we are seeing everywhere. And I can understand how people get into doomsday, but one of the examples was a few months ago, like last fall, and I'm using this example simply because it connects with Canada and politics, is that down south, Trump used to scream about Biden and the U.S. is broken and everything's broken, and Pierre Poilievre was saying the whole thing, same thing. Canada's broken, Canada's broken, Canada's broken. It's all Justin Trudeau's fault. And what it did was make people feel that why should we bother? It's broken, it can't be fixed, that's it, let's just go. Let's go our separate ways, let's split the provinces, we'll make our own country, we'll do our own thing, and it'll be better. And that's where the MAGA people are, is that they think the world is, their country is so broken, and Trump has given them something to hold on to. And he gaslights, blames the problem on somebody else, and he blames it on the immigrants. And he creates situations that really exist, but he makes the situation 10 times bigger than it has to be. And he builds on that doomsday mentality. And during the Cold War, they had bunkers. The bunkers still exist. There's the prepper mentality. You can go on YouTube and find prepper YouTube channels about how to prep your house for the upcoming disasters that are going to happen and things like this. And they're not talking about the recession that 95% of us are pretty sure is going to come. They're talking about the world coming to an end, like that the whole United States is going to collapse and all the rest of it. That's a doomsday mentality. That's a really lousy way to live life. It really, really is. To sit there and spend all your life going, oh, it's falling apart. It's like kids coming in going, I hate math, I can't do it, I'm going to fail. It's September the 5th, and they've already decided they're going to fail my grade 11 functions class, or my grade 10 math, or my grade whatever I'm teaching. Congratulations. To quote an old doctor I had when I lived in the far north, I did something, and he looked at me and said, Bev, if you say you're going to break your leg in the morning, you will find some way during the day to break your leg. And I was like, wow, the guy's that's smart, right? If we assume the worst is going to happen, everything beautiful and fantastic might happen, but we're not going to see it. We're only going to see the bad. We're only going to see the terrible. And that's a lousy way to live. Okay? And that's where my push is. Let's get away from the doomsday. Those people that are hardcore doomsdayers, like these heavy-duty preppers, and you've got them in Canada too, but I just find the videos for the U.S., where they have literally bought land up in the mountains in Virginia or North Carolina or wherever, and they have built bomb shelters, they've put places for their cattle, and like literally they're prepped to live off the land because the world is going to come to a screeching halt, and Russia's going to drop a bomb on the U.S. and everything's going to come crumbling down. And I went, what a lousy way to live life. Like, literally, guys, it's got to be better. So if you want people who might have a reason for thinking the world is coming to a halt, all these poor people in northwestern Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, the Northern Territories, like the southern part of the Northern Territories, British Columbia, who are all fighting forest fires, they have a reason. Their communities are under threat. And one lady She said, I can't do anything else, but I can let people see what's on my Ring camera. So these stupid Ring cameras that are in, people have connected to phones and connected to their houses. Hers is still active, and so she literally has put it on to live action YouTube channel, so everybody can just watch. And she said, at least my neighbors can see that their house in that mini block is just fine, right? And she said, by watching that Ring camera, I could see the fire come, and then I could see that it was decreasing. And she said, there was a sense of relief that, okay, I can see this. At least I know what's happening. And another lady said the same thing. She said it killed her because her Ring camera showed her as her house caught fire. And she's watching her whole neighborhood burning. And she said, and then the Ring camera went dead. She said, so she says, it's devastating to me because my house is gone. I know it's gone. But at least I know it's gone. Right? But part of that, having lived in the far north and lived through fire season, it's a really funny experience because it is terrifying. It literally is absolutely terrifying. I dug up my garden to bury my my cradle that my dad had made for my kids. I had everything next to the front door that was going in the car because the fire was coming from the north, so we were getting prepped for evacuation, and it was going to be, you were driving out. They weren't flying us out. That happens too, but in our case, we weren't going to fly out. We would be driving out. But the OPP and the Ministry of Natural Resources would be coming door to door saying, get that out now. And so I had dug up the garden. I was prepping to put my cradle in plastic and bury it the whole 9 yards. So it is terrifying. But at the same time, it's this really funny communities coming together, and everybody's watching out for each other, and everybody's prepped, and it's things like, okay, where are we going to meet, and it's funny to see that in that atmosphere of disaster, there was this wonderful sense of camaraderie, and we weren't thinking doomsday. We weren't thinking the world's going to come to screeching halt. And it was like, okay, it's on the other side of the channel. I mean, and from my house, I could see the smoke and the flames. And the funny part was, my husband was up front of the house, and he got a phone call, and he said, we need you in the hospital now. He's an ambulance attendant at the time. And he said, what? What's the emergency? Like, what's up? And he rhymed off the other driver. He said, something happened to him? He said, no, just get your butt in the hospital now. He said, okay, let me just have a shit and a shave. And he went to the bathroom to have his shit and a shave. And I went to put something out in the clothesline, and I could see the flames. And I went, bud, I don't know why they're calling you. He said, yeah, because this is really strange, because we couldn't smell the smoke yet. And I said, go on this back deck. And he went out in the back deck and went, oh, shit, that's what the problem is. And he was gone, right? But there was that sense of camaraderie. We were working together. So instead of sitting here saying the world's coming to a screeching halt and Canada's broken, let's work together. Let's improve and be there for each other, because the economy is going to be crappy for a while. And Trump can't make up his mind if he's having a tariff or not having a tariff. He's going to put it off for 90 days and then he puts it back on, or he cancels those for 90 days, but he just pushed up steel and aluminum to 50%. Poor Doug Ford, poor premiers, poor prime ministers, poor anybody in the government right now, because they can't make plans before that man's changing things. So us as the regular citizens, let's just buckle down and get rid of that doomsday mentality, because it's not helping you. It's not helping you. It's not helping me. It's not helping anybody. It just makes it really rough to live. It's like the little kid who does nothing but whine and complain, and you just want to say, oh, please stop. Or our co-worker, that only ever sees the bad side. It was like, please just don't. So that's my comment today about let's look at the positive. Let's not always just be doomsdayers and the negatives, and here's the positive to compensate for all the that's going. I just found out that dear old Prime Minister Mark Carney, I knew obviously his degree is in economy, is in economics. His wife's is in economics too. Did a little stalking there. His wife is in economics, and he's in economics big time. They have 4 kids. That's easy to find. His first degree's in Harvard. The next one's in Oxford. And I thought, oh, don't let it be Oxford, US, please. But no, it's not. It's Oxford, UK. And he is actually a doctor, not a medical doctor. He's got his doctorate in economics, which is correct, fine, which makes logical sense. And his economic degrees and his doctorate, PhD, is all international. And his thesis, or what he wrote his PhD about, was, politely put, dealing with tariff wars. It was difficult international economics, I think was the name of his thesis for his PhD. Basically, how to deal with idiots that want to have trade wars. Can we ask for anybody better? Like, this is, you may be a conservative, thumbs up to you. You might be an NDP, thumbs up to you. But we couldn't ask for anybody better. You might not like the man, you don't have to, but this man literally knows what the hell he's doing when it comes to this kind of shit. Right? This is like King George VI. He was the king that wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be his brother, King Edward VIII. But King Edward VIII abdicated so he could marry Wallis Simpson. And so poor stuttering little King George VI, he was as shy as anything, ended up being king during World War II, and you couldn't have asked for a better king. He just went down to the streets. He wouldn't leave his people. He wouldn't leave Buckingham Palace. Her Majesty, the Queen Mum, said, I'm not leaving my husband, and I'm not sending my girls away. So they stayed. I mean, they stayed up in Windsor. They weren't always in Buckingham Palace. But he was the perfect monarch for World War II. He was down to earth. The people could connect with him. Same thing with Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill tried to be prime minister several times. And he was the perfect person for that situation. And after the war, he tried to get elected again and couldn't, because he was no longer the perfect person for that situation. And this is what we've got in Canada. We got Mark Carney. Most unlikely prime minister on the face of this earth. He's heavy-duty economics, yet he's our prime minister, and he knows exactly what he's facing and exactly what needs to be done. I'm impressed so far. As is somebody I read this morning, he is not interested in the powers of being the prime minister. He wants to be the project manager sort of mentality. This was in the National Post. The National Post tends to be very right-leaning, and he said he's not interested, doesn't appear to be interested in the powers of being the prime minister. Likes the bells and whistles that go with it, like they don't live in 24 Sussex right now, but the prime minister's residence and all the things that come with being prime minister. But he's not interested in pushing being the one in control. He wants to be project manager, which is really what we need to bring unity of the country together. So there we go. Shovel the doomsday mentality. Put it someplace else. Leave it alone. We don't need it. And thumbs up on Mark Carney, because perfect person at the right time. And by the way, if you know somebody who lives in doomsday mentality, don't try to convince them otherwise, because you're wasting your breath. You're not going to. It's like trying to convince MAGA people that Donald Trump is really what he is. You're not going to be able to do it. Take care, guys. We'll see you next time.